Mark Taylor-Canfield in Seattle. Hey, Mark, I know you've been reporting on the CHOP on the Capitol Hill region that has kind of declared its independence. I know that the mayor says that she's going to take it apart. You've got bulldozers down the street. What's going on?
Well, at a press briefing on Monday, Police Chief Carmen announced that the Seattle Police Department doesn't want to use batons or guns on protesters, but she claims that the city council had, quote, legislated away, unquote, their option of using tear gas, rubber bullets, flashbang grenades, and other crowd control weapons. So even though she's under a court temporary injunction and also a city council ban, she asked for the reinstatement of those devices in an attempt to remilitarize the police department. Mayor Jenny Durkan announced that the SPD will reoccupy the abandoned East Precinct where the protesters have held vigils 24/7 for several weeks now, about 16 or 17 days. Folks have been marching to the West Precinct every day. They've been blocking.
Now, this is in the wake, Mark, of 2 people getting shot in there.
Actually, 4 people. One guy drove his car into the protest wielding a weapon, shot one man. 2 other people were shot in as what looks like a random act of violence, and then a 4th man was shot. He just spoke from the hospital the other day, says that he was attacked by white supremacists. But Best and Durkan have used this scenario that Trump was using, that this is a very dangerous place, to crack down. And so they say they're going to clear it out. Now, this morning, the DOT trucks, the Department of Transportation trucks, showed up to remove the concrete barriers which the city actually had put in front of the police department, and protesters laid down in front of the front loader and refused to let them do that. So the latest is that the city has given the protesters 72 hours to figure out what they want to do and how to organize themselves. And I was down there yesterday at the General Assembly, Thom, and folks are talking about wanting to, they have a list of demands. Obviously, they want to defund the Seattle Police Department by 50%. They want to use that money to fund black and brown communities that have been redlined in Seattle. And they want all charges dropped against protesters who have been arrested. Now, city attorney Pete Holm, who's a very progressive kind of guy, he says he probably will drop those charges. Teresa Mosqueda and the city council president Lorena Gonzalez say they're behind, and Shama Swan are behind defunding the police department by 50%. But those demands have not been met yet. They've also asked for the resignation of Jenny Durkan for failing to rein in the police. And the big thing, they want to turn the East Precinct into a community center. And that's got a long history in Seattle. The Central Area Motivation Program is an old fire station that black activists occupied and turned into a community center. El Centro de la Raza, the Latino community, took over that building, occupied it, got the city to turn on the lights and water, turned it into a community center. The Daystar Tribal Center and the African American Heritage Museum both were gained by people occupying those spaces until the city finally gave them the property. So that's the plan at this point at CHOP, but people are organizing right now to figure out how they're going to get this done. Meanwhile, the police department and the mayor seem to be completely unrepentant after more than 15,000 complaints were filed against them during these protests. But you won't hear that addressed by the mayor or Carmen because unfortunately they've kind of adopted Fox News and Sinclair Broadcasting and Donald Trump's political dialogue about all this, saying that it's a dangerous place and, needs to be cleared out. There has been no violence there over the last 3 or 4 nights.
It's going to be a long weekend. Yeah, no, it's going to be a long weekend. Mark, thanks for the report.